All right. What is going on, everybody? Needs More Drums here, back with another American Truck Simulator video on our Rags to Riches series. So, apologies for the last one. Well, you guys didn't actually see it, but basically, my recording software was lagging. It was causing a lot of lag in the game, so I didn't get any really good footage. But I shut it off and still completed the delivery, and I did a couple other deliveries off camera because it was kind of fun to just, go back to like the old vanilla version of the game, more or less, but, kind of start from the beginning. And so, as you can see, we have a nice amount of money now, about almost 47 grand, 46 grand. So let's go and get another job here and continue our journey, just kind of working for the man here and trying to make some money. All right, so I did find this frac tank, which looks pretty good. Not too long of a distance, and to be honest, I've never driven this truck before. So let's just take it and see what happens. All right, so here on our Western Star. Let's go ahead and get started here. So, to be fair, let's see, so that's one. So I'm not really entirely sure how this gearbox is gonna work here. And I actually don't even know how to get into. Oh, there we go. All right, I think we got it. So yeah, I'm used to using the Eaton Fuller layouts and not the range splitter layouts here. Yeah, all right. So I got this frac tank. Pretty nice looking truck. Gonna get going here to our destination. All right, sweet. So I think how these range splitter gearboxes work is actually so. The odd number gears are the low gears, and the even number gears are the high gears. So let's see. So that's already out of range. All right. See, so we got 1, 3, 5. Ooh, that's not great. There we go. All right, we got the hang of it now. Yeah, so I think I'll just keep it kind of in this range for now. Since it's I guess it's a 12 speed. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's not like an 18 speed where maybe you have low and high range gears. Maybe you don't. I'm not entirely too sure. Yeah, see, so then we can go to 9. There we go. Yeah, this seems pretty natural here. Guess this is all right. Cool. So yeah. So anyway, glad to be back. We just got the new 1.44 update for the game. Very excited to be playing that. To be honest, didn't add a ton. Well, I guess it did add some pretty significant stuff. Like, we got a new part of California, so I'm super excited to kind of get going with that. Maybe when we make our way out there, it'll be nice to kind of see that. I'm excited to see that part of the map a little bit more well done and redone and kind of remastered and revamped, because playing on these newer maps like Colorado and Wyoming, is like the quality is so much more well done compared to the there we go. Okay, got it. Sorry, I'm still figuring out this transmission here. Anyway, so I am excited for the California map, the rework. That's going to be nice to see. And then I'm also excited for the to try out this like new race suspension when I start, you know, getting enough money to kind of get my own truck. That'll be cool. And yeah, I'm also excited to see the new drop deck trailers and be able to maybe get one of those eventually. Also, apparently this truck doesn't want to use cruise control. Don't really know why. I don't know. Whatever. Things act up sometimes, but it's cool. Guess we'll just kind of keep going on our own then. But yeah, so I guess we'll get technical with you guys here for a second. So what I do like about this game is that you can kind of play it, you know, as realistic as you want. And so it does, since it is kind of more of a simulator, you know, it does offer a lot of you know, control over the truck. And one thing that's kind of cool is, like, you know, in real life, not that I don't have my CDL or anything, but I do know that most trucks have you have to double clutch to shift, so they don't have synchronous transmissions like cars do. So, like, you know, for example, like I think I mentioned, I drive a manual transmission car. I drive a Subaru WRX, and you know, you just push the clutch in and change to the next gear and then let the clutch out all in kind of one motion, because the transmission is designed to go from one gear to the next. But in a semi-truck like this, the transmissions are not designed to do that. They're designed to kind of go, I guess the best way to describe it is to go into each gear independently of one another. So what you have to do is you have to clutch in, take it out of gear, put it into neutral, and then clutch back in, and then put it in, and then, you know, give it a little like gas to rev match, and then put it in the gear and then clutch out. So it's like, you know, there's an additional step where you have to put the clutch in, gear out, then clutch in again, then the gear, put it in gear. So, you know, you take that extra step, you got to push the clutch pedal twice essentially. And, you know, there's a lot of footwork. And, you know, people that have been driving for a long time, you know, they kind of learn the truck and learn how to float gears without, and can shift without using the clutch. So that's one benefit of having a asynchronous transmission, because the transmissions have something called synchros, which, you know, ties kind of the engine to the transmission. And I'm sorry if this was not a great explanation. Like I said, you know, I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a semi-truck driver myself. However, you know, I kind of have an understanding of it, and I heard that motorcycles are kind of the same way, where you can kind of shift without the clutch. I know in my car that is really not possible. You have to use the clutch to shift. But in trucks, you know, you can kind of do something called floating gears, where you just kind of, you can, the revs will end up in a certain place every time, so you can kind of feel when you want to change gears, you can kind of feel where the next gear is going to be and just pop it into gear without actually having to use the clutch pedal to bring it in and out of gear. So that's, you know, something that obviously takes a long time to master, and the technique is, you know, I guess it kind of goes both ways. Like, it could save you some wear and tear on your truck, at least on your clutch, but, you know, if you're not smooth with it, then you can wear your actual gears out pretty fast. So it's something that you gotta kind of learn and really master before you can actually do it. So in this game, I remember, you know, a while ago, and I guess I could do it now again since I have my better shifter. I used to have, if you set the shift setting to advanced, then you can actually, it'll allow you to float gears without using the clutch if you match the revs right. So I think for a while I used to be able to do it, and now I kind of just don't really care to do it anymore, because upshifting. Oh, here's, we got something coming up. What have we got coming up here? Got a little accident. There we go. Oh, so now we gotta go all the way around. Man, they just added so much time to our route. I hate it when it does this. When it, you know, it's like, it's kind of cool because it's realistic, and, you know, your route will change sometimes, but sometimes it gets old when you think you're gonna do like a quick, you know, 20-minute in real-time drive or something, and then you end up taking way longer because it makes you go all the way down and turn around. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, I used to flip gears in this game, and it's very possible when you have the advanced shifter layout. However, it's not super intuitive, you know, as it kind of is in real life. I mean, I guess because obviously, like, you know, in a game, it's hard to actually feel the gear, and that's kind of the whole point. Is like, you know, if you're driving a truck in real life, you can actually feel the gear slip. I guess the gap between the gears when you can just kind of pop it right in, and I think it's in this game you kind of go by like the revs. So you look, it's about 4,000, or 4,000, not 4,000, like 400 RPM, and you know you just let the rev needle drop when you pop it out of gear, and then you just pop it back in gear, and you should be able to hit it about every 400 RPMs. So that's how you do it. But upshifting is a little more, well, upshifting is easy because the revs drop when you go up in gears, but downshifting is where it gets really, really tough. Hey, we discovered a new town. Cool. But yeah, long story short, upshifting is easy, downshifting is not, because when you downshift, you have to match the revs, and so, you know, you got to give it a little gas, and if you don't give it enough gas, then your revs will be too low, and you won't be able to find the right spot to put it in gear. So I kind of go through the same thing with my car. You know, when you're driving a manual transmission, you have to rev match, otherwise the car, you know, it's not gonna hurt the car. Yeah, I missed that one. I'm sorry, I'm not used to driving this 12 speed, man. This is this is really weird. Like, usually, you know, with the 10 and the 13 and the 18, the layouts are all really, really easy. Nope, not gonna make that one. But yeah, the layouts are really easy with the 10, 13, and 18 speeds. But when you start getting into the 12 speeds, you know, the layout's a little bit different, and you know, it doesn't tell you got higher, low gears. You just got, you know, 1 through 12, and reverse is actually you actually have to, in the case of my shifter, you actually have to push down and put it into the reverse gear, whereas in the 10 and 13 and the Eaton Fuller layouts, you know, you don't have to do that. But anyway, yeah, with a manual car, you know, it's a lot different because you actually have to you have to rev match, and a lot of cars nowadays have rev matchers built in. Like, I know the lead singer of my band has a newer model Mustang GT, and there's actually a setting where you can turn on and off the rev matcher, which he says he always keeps it off, which, you know, that's kind of what I would do, because I think it takes away part of the, not necessarily the challenge, but just, you know, an crucial part of driving a manual transmission. You know, it kind of helps you get to know the car a little bit better when you know kind of how the gear ratios feel and where the revs are at every time, you know, you pull it in and out of gear. So I think it's beneficial to not have an automatic rev matcher on your car or truck, obviously. But yeah, in my case, you know, you have to take it out of gear and then give it a little bit of gas, and then before you put it back in gear, to make the downshift really, really smooth, because you got to bring your revs back up to catch that next gear. And, you know, I'm making a bunch of hand motions right now, but obviously you can't see what I'm doing. But anyway, you know, but that really helps make the transition smooth. Otherwise, what happens is your car, or the transmission, kind of grabs at the clutch, and it makes this really, your car kind of jerks real fast, and it's like a real, you know, you feel the gear change. Whereas if you rev match and you let the clutch out nice and smooth, then that doesn't end up happening. So I much prefer to rev match whenever I am downshifting, and especially, you know, in this game, I try a little bit. It's not as easy to do, just because of the fact that there's something to be said about, you know, when you have a clutch and you can actually feel you can actually understand how the car feels, and it's really weird to say it, but it's true. You know, when you're going between gears, you know, you kind of feel that point where the clutch grabs onto the transmission. The clutch engages, and it you know, puts you in gear. Whereas in this game, at least with the pedals that I have, you can't actually feel that, so that makes it kind of a lot harder to know when I'm in the right gear or not. And that's, you know, like, I know in this game I kind of might change gears a little bit quick, but I've realized, like, when I'm driving, you know, in real life in my manual transmission, my gear changes take a little bit longer because I almost have to, like, put the clutch out with my foot and then kind of wait for it to grab before I put it in gear and let it all the way out. Otherwise, you know, I kind of like either short shift or do something kind of weird with the transmission. So, you know, but by now I've been driving that car long enough to where I feel the car and I know where the clutch grabs. But when you're driving different types of cars, you know, it can really kind of throw you. I know, for example, you know, one thing that's kind of, you know, that's forgiving with different types of cars is the amount of torque that the motor has. So I know I apologize again for getting all technical with this stuff, but it is true, you know, and it kind of, I feel like it helps understanding this game a little bit better when you have an understanding of how the transmissions work, and it kind of makes it that much more immersive. And so, you know, when you're driving a manual transmission car or truck or any kind of vehicle for that matter, the torque plays a part in how sort of, not, I guess I could say, like, aggressive maybe you have to be with the clutch and with your gear changes. So for example, or at least with the throttle, when you're going in and out of gear. So for example, when you're coming from a dead stop and you're trying to get going, you know, if you have a motor with a lot of torque, you could let that clutch out to the point where you feel the car start to roll, and then once that happens, you know, you can give a little bit of gas or whatever. But with a motor with like a V8, you know, for example, like I mentioned, the lead singer in my band has a Mustang, and you know, I drove his Mustang once after I had already been driving my Subaru. And for example, my Subaru only has 4 cylinders, and I think the motor only puts out about like 350 newton meters of torque. Yeah, sure, but something like that. But anyway, you know, whereas he's got a V8 that puts out way more torque than my 4-cylinder. So what ended up happening was, you know, that car, I was pretty smooth just coming in that car for the first time. I was pretty smooth on the gear changes and, you know, starting from the stops, because the engine kind of does more of the work. You know, the torque lets the car roll and gets it going a little bit better because it's putting more power to the wheels. So when you let that clutch out, it's a lot more forgiving. Whereas you don't, you know, it'll roll naturally because that motor has a lot more power, right? It's got a lot more torque. It's put a lot more force to the tires. Whereas in my case, when I let him drive my Subaru, he just wasn't used to the lack of that torque, and so he ended up stalling my car like a couple times. I remember we went and grabbed a beer, and I was like, yeah, you know what, why not take it for a spin? And because you know, he always kind of wanted to take it for a test drive, and yeah, he was having a little bit of trouble with it because he would just, you know, wasn't used to, one, where that clutch grabs is different in every car, and two, where just the amount of torque in the motor, you know, it's not very forgiving. And so I realized that I have to give kind of a little bit of gas, you know, every time I'm going from a stop, because otherwise I'm going to stall the car. And trust me, I did that many times when I bought it, you know, thinking that I was slick, and not that I was slick, but just thinking, you know, coming up from a stoplight, and then light turns green, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get it, and then I let the clutch out too quick, and that motor is very unforgiving, so I end up stalling in the middle of the intersection, and everybody's beeping at me and saying, what the heck are you doing? And I'm like, oh, come on, man, you know, cut me some slack. I'm driving a stick for the first time. But you know, people just they just don't know. So one thing about having a stick shift, you know, I mean, you just gotta take your time with it, and actually, you have to know the car, and I think that's really really fun, and I think that's a cool aspect of owning a stick shift and driving a stick shift is actually getting to know the car and be able to feel, when you have to do the gear changes and where the clutch grabs. It all just comes in part of driving it and, enjoying the aspect of driving. So in this game too, it's like, as you can see, I've been struggling a lot with these with this 12-speed transmission, just because I'm not used to it, and it's just part of being used to the transmission, used to where the gears are, used to kind of what speeds, how fast you're going in what gear, like what the ranges are. I know, like in my car, I kind of know if I want to skip, if I'm coming up to a red light or something and I'm slowing down and I want to kind of skip a gear when I'm downshifting, I know what speed I need to be at to get into each gear, so I don't, shift too early and blow out my transmission or my clutch or something, But it all just comes with time and kind of knowing where you got to be. So we're getting relatively close here. And I guess I should kind of apologize for my for the sound of my voice. It is May. It is allergy season. I have terrible allergies. Fun fact of the day for me. Yeah, I always like to do this fun facts in my videos. So yeah, I have terrible allergies, and I just May sucks because everything is blooming. I noticed in the last week, it's been so weird, man. I'm from like the Chicago area, and the weather here is just so freaking ridiculous and like bipolar. I mean, last Friday I was downtown for an event, and it was literally 40 degrees and raining, and just today it was 90. No joke. So you figure the temperature has increased twice as much in like just like a matter of a few days, and it was literally overnight. Like these past couple days actually have been in the 80s and pushing 90. So it's like, just after a day of 40 degree weather. So it's our weather here has literally skipped spring and has just gone straight to summer. And now I'm looking at the forecast. It's like it's supposed to go back to kind of springtime weather next week and be like in the 60s and 70s. But it was just like, yeah, it's going to be 40s, and then it's going to jump to 80s and 90s. So that's cool. Whatever. I'm ready for it, man. I got my shorts. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for summer. But yeah, the weather here is just crazy. I mean, I don't know where you guys are all from, if the weather is that insane by you, but if it is, I'd love to know, because I feel your pain. But if not, that's cool too. Must be nice. But yeah, I think now that we're getting close here, I'll just be quiet and we'll finish out the drive, and then I'll talk to you guys in a bit once we reach our destination. Cool. Yeah, so I guess one thing that's kind of cool about this delivery that I forgot to mention, we're delivering one of these, ooh, there we go. One of these frac tanks here, and I see a lot of these out by me because I live by pretty close to a very industrial area, and one of them is close to an oil refinery, and there's a massive oil refinery not too far from my house, and so I know whenever they have projects and stuff, going on there, they'll be bringing a lot of these frac tanks in just to store, different kinds of chemicals, and in case like they need to divert something somewhere or have some excess storage on hand, they'll bring those in. So I'll see a lot of trucks going by with these frac tanks, and it was kind of cool when they added these into the game as a cargo, because I was like, oh, that's something that I know pretty well and actually see pretty frequently. So yeah, cool to be. I don't really haul these a lot in this game, so it's pretty cool to actually be doing it for once. Almost got a little too close there. So it's weird with the camera in this game. I should really invest in one of those IR trackers. I think that'd be pretty cool and make it a lot easier to actually navigate. But for now, we do what we can, and it's a game, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, here we are at our destination. I think I might do... We'll see if we do a second delivery in this video. If you do, cool. If not, then I'll see you guys later. And hope that you guys enjoyed this and enjoyed me rambling about manual transmissions for 20 minutes. But yeah, really appreciate it, and I hope you guys stick around for the next one as we... Ooh, that is not great. And I hope you guys stick around for the next one as we actually keep making some money here and progressing in the series. So with that being said, let's drop off our load here, and I will back it in just a minute. We need this XP since we're a pretty low level. Help us make some more money. Alright, pretty easy spot. Just gotta give ourselves some room here. Alright, let's see if we can get it here first try. Sometimes I'm lucky, sometimes I'm not. So alright guys, I think we got it. So thank you again for watching, and I will catch you in either the second part of this episode or the next video. Alright, so I did decide to do a second delivery in this video. So we're going to deliver this propane from Cheyenne to Pueblo. Alright, so I'm super excited for this one because I'm actually back in the Eaton Fuller 18 speed gear layout. So yeah, so I figured it'd be nice to do a second delivery in this video. I'm sure we, I'll cut out some of the more boring parts. This one I'll probably be a little more quiet, since in the last video I was going on and on about, or in the last part of the video I was going on and on about you know, sequential versus or synchronous versus asynchronous transmissions, and if that's even the correct term, I'm really not 100% sure, but you get my point. Nonetheless, yeah, we'll just get on the highway here. I actually think I did this delivery kind of in one of the off-camera videos, the last one that I tried to record, where it was lagging real bad. I think it was the same route. I delivered propane to to Pueblo in Peterbilt 389, except it was a day cab and not with a 10-speed, and not this sleeper with a 18-speed. So I guess before we really start, here's a nice look at the truck. One of my favorites. Always love driving these. So it's got a 500 horsepower engine in it, so that's nice. Probably just either a PACCAR or you know, Cummins IX 500 or something. But still, good solid engine for the journey. And let's get started. Look at that, cruise control actually works on this truck. I don't know what was going on with the last one, but cruise control was just not working for some reason. But this is a lot nicer. Alright, we got the go ahead to pull into the way station here, so let's go do that and hope that we don't incur any break any laws and incur any fines. Alright, looks like we're good to go. So let's keep going on our journey here. And we'll be there in just a little bit, actually. Yeah, that's one thing on I don't know if you just saw, but I kind of cut this red car off as I was coming on the expressway. But, you know, I know it's just a game, but, you know, in real life you would expect people like that to move out of the way. And that always kind of makes me mad when I'm on the expressway and I see cars doing that when trucks are trying to get on and they're trying to merge and they just sit right, like in you know, alongside the back of their trailer and they can't get on the expressway. It's like, just get over or slow down. I mean, these trucks can't stop, and, you know, they're carrying a lot of weight, and it's just like, be mindful of that, you know. Always kind of give trucks the right of way if you can, because it's a lot harder for them to stop, and you're putting yourself in a more dangerous situation by trying to, you know, race them and beat them and you know, cut them off or whatever. And it's just rude, and that's how people get in really bad accidents with semis, because they think they can beat them. And you know what? You can't. Your small car cannot beat an 80,000 pound fully loaded truck. It just doesn't happen. So yeah, you're not gonna win, you know. So just give them space, you know. Be careful, and it'll all work out. Alright, here we are coming up on our destination, just getting off the expressway here. And man, I love this game. It's so nice sometimes to just, you know, sit back and enjoy a nice drive, even if it is just in a video game. You know, there's just something kind of nice about mindlessly driving and not having to worry about, like, you know, games that are super challenging or stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons why I kind of keep coming back to this game. It's just nice to, after, you know, a long day at work or whatever, just kind of take my mind off things and just you know, sit and chill out and enjoy the sound of a 500 horsepower diesel engine. But yeah, we are just about to pull in here, so let's get there and finally deliver this load. Oh, whoops, almost shifted into the first. Gotta be careful. Yeah, so in case you guys don't know, I do have, you know, I only have the Fanatec shifter, so it doesn't have any buttons on it or anything, but what I do have is a Logitech G920, and so it's got the little LSB and RSB buttons, like the left stick and right stick buttons on a, you know, controller equivalent. And those are really nice for selecting my gear ranges. So on the left one, I have it programmed to do the what is it, the range, and then the right one is programmed to be the splitter. I think that's how you say it. So yeah, like the left one changes from, you know, I got 1 2 3 4, and then, you know, I press the left stick button and it goes 5 6 7 8, and then if I press the right stick button, it goes from low to high. So that's just a good way to kind of separate my gears. And all right, there's our spot. So let's go ahead and position the trailer the right way, and we'll probably just back it in here in a second. Just go around this way. Yeah, this will put us in a great spot. Perfect. All right, cool. Look at that. Flawless. All right. Like a pro, man. Looks like I've done this before. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And every video, we are getting one step closer to buying our own truck and making some money and getting our own company. So thanks again. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.